Hi everyone, welcome to Real English.
Where you learn natural English for real life.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Emily. Let's get started.
So Emily, today we are tackling a topic that strikes absolute terror into the hearts of travellers all over the globe. We are talking about the customs and immigration counter at the airport.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't matter if you have traveled to 50 countries or if it's your very first time stepping onto an airplane. There is something about that yellow line on the floor, the strict signs warning you not to use your phone, and those serious-looking officers that just makes your mind go completely blank.
Exactly. It's like a psychological pressure cooker. And let me tell you, even as a native speaker, I have had my fair share of absolute disasters at border control. A few years ago, I was flying into London's Heathrow Airport. It was after a brutal 15-hour flight with 2 layovers. My brain was absolute mush. I was running on nothing but cheap airline coffee and anxiety.
Heathrow border control is no joke either. The queues are always massive, and by the time you reach the front, you're already exhausted.
Oh, I was a zombie. So I finally step up to the desk. The officer looks at me with this incredibly stern, unblinking stare. He doesn't say hello or how was your flight. He just says, "What is the nature of your visit to the United Kingdom?" Now, nature of your visit is just a formal way of asking why are you here. But in my sleep-deprived state, my brain took the word nature literally.
Oh no, Paul. Please tell me you didn't talk about trees.
I absolutely did. I froze, stared at him and said, nature? Yes, I like nature. I want to see the parks. Maybe some green grass. And, Big Ben. He is a very big natural clock.
Oh, stop it! A natural clock? Paul, that is hilarious but so painful.
It was a complete train wreck, Emily. He just stared at me, probably wondering if I was completely out of my mind or trying to be funny. He slowly asked, "So, you are here for tourism?" And I just nodded like a broken bobblehead, saying, "Yes, tourism, big clock."
It was so embarrassing. But you know what? This is exactly what happens to our English learners. When you get nervous, your brain goes into survival mode. You either freeze up completely, or you start translating directly from your native language, which makes you sound incredibly robotic, stiff, or in your case, slightly crazy.
And the irony is, when you sound like a robot or look incredibly nervous, it actually raises red flags for the customs officers. They are trained to look for nervous behavior. So if you are stammering and using awkward, stiff phrasing, they might start asking you 50 extra questions because they think you have something to hide, even when you are just a normal tourist who wants to see the sights.
Precisely. So today, we are going to give our listeners the ultimate toolkit to completely dismantle that anxiety. We want you to walk up to that counter feeling relaxed, confident, and sounding like a natural human being.
That is the goal. No more textbook robotic phrases. Let's start with our first major section today, our step-by-step core teaching framework. If you memorize just this one simple structure, you can handle 90% of any customs interview in the world. We call it the PDA Framework.
PDA, like public displays of affection?
Not quite, though hugging the customs officer is definitely not recommended. In this case, PDA stands for purpose, duration, and accommodation. When an officer asks you why you are visiting, these are the only 3 pieces of information they actually care about. If you can deliver these 3 things in one clear, natural sentence, you will pass through in 30 seconds.
That is so simple. Let's break it down. Purpose is why you are there. Duration is how long you are staying. Accommodation is where you are sleeping.
Exactly. Let's look at a basic standard response using this framework. A lot of beginners might say, "I am a tourist. I stay 10 days. My hotel is the Hilton." Now, while that is grammatically okay, it sounds very choppy and robotic.
Right. It feels like you are reading a list. Let's upgrade that using the PDA framework to make it flow like natural speech. You could say, I'm here on vacation for about 10 days, and I'll be staying at the Hilton downtown. See how much smoother that is? One fluid sentence.
It's perfect. It tells the officer everything they need to know before they even have to ask follow-up questions. Officers love efficiency. If you give them the PDA right away, they will usually just stamp your passport and send you on your way.
But what if you aren't a traditional tourist? What if you are traveling for business, or maybe visiting family? The framework still works perfectly, you just adjust the details. Let's look at some advanced vocabulary upgrades to make your answers sound even more professional.
Yes, let's upgrade those basic verbs. A lot of learners rely heavily on verbs like go, do, or have. For example, I am going to do a meeting, or I have a conference.
Instead of doing a meeting, let's use the verb attend or conduct. If you are there for business, you can say, I'm here to attend a trade exhibition, or I'm here to conduct a series of client meetings.
That sounds incredibly professional. Another classic basic verb is stay. I am staying at my friend's house.
Let's upgrade that. You can say, I am lodging with my relatives, or I will be accommodated at my company's local corporate housing. Ooh, accommodated is a beautiful, high-level word. It instantly shows a high level of English proficiency, which builds trust with the officer. And speaking of modern travel, we also have to address how the customs experience has changed in recent years. We aren't just carrying paper documents anymore.
Oh, definitely. The modern customs experience is highly digital. You have e-visas, QR codes, digital boarding passes, and booking confirmations on your phone. Sometimes, the officer might ask for proof of your return ticket or hotel booking.
And when they ask for that, you don't want to fumble around and say, wait, look my phone, that sounds a bit unprofessional. Instead, you want to use natural, modern phrases. You can say, I have my return ticket confirmation pulled up on my screen, or let me bring up the digital voucher on my travel app.
I love that phrase, pulled up on my screen. It's what native speakers say every single day. Or you could say, I have an offline copy of my itinerary right here on my phone. It shows you are organized, prepared, and tech-savvy.
Now, let's dive deeper into our third section, our pocket words. These are 5 highly specific, high-frequency words that are essential for airport and customs navigation. If you master these 5 words, you will understand exactly what the officers are asking you, and you'll know how to reply.
Our first pocket word is declaration, or the verb form to declare. In a travel context, to declare means to officially state what goods you are bringing into a country, especially items that might be subject to taxes or items that are restricted.
Yes, and this is where a lot of people get confused. They think declare means they did something wrong, but it's just a standard procedure. For example, if you are bringing in expensive gifts, large amounts of cash, or agricultural products, you must declare them. A natural way to use this is, I have some packaged food items to declare, or I have nothing to declare, just personal effects.
Our second pocket word is itinerary. We mentioned this briefly earlier. An itinerary is a detailed plan or route of your journey. It lists your flights, hotel bookings, and major activities. Often, if the border officer is a bit suspicious about your travel plans, they will ask, do you have an itinerary for your trip?
And instead of saying, I have a plan paper, you should hand them your document and say, yes, here is a printed copy of my travel itinerary, or I have my full itinerary saved on my phone.
It shows you are organized, prepared, and tech-savvy. Now, let's dive deeper into our third section. Our pocket words. These are 5 costs I can low until then.
Many students, when asked about their travel plans, will say, I want to go to travel, or I am going to travel.
Ah, yes, go to travel. While we understand what you mean, native speakers almost never use travel as a noun in this way. It sounds very unnatural. Instead, we use the words trip, vacation, or holiday.
Exactly. So instead of saying, I am here to make a travel, you should say, I'm here on vacation, I'm taking a short trip, or I'm on a holiday. It sounds infinitely more relaxed and natural.
Here is another big one. When the officer asks about your accommodation, many learners say, I will live in the Hilton Hotel.
Oh yes, living in a hotel. Remember, the verb to live implies a permanent residence. Unless you are a billionaire who actually resides in a penthouse suite at the Hilton, you are not living there. You are staying there temporarily.
Right. So you should say, I'm staying at the Hilton, or I have a reservation at the Hilton. Keep live for your actual hometown or country. Another common point of confusion is the difference between customs and immigration. Many people use these words interchangeably, but they actually mean very different things.
And confusing them can lead to some awkward conversations at the airport.
That is a great point, Emily. Let's clarify this. Immigration is about people. It's where they check your passport, your visa, and your identity to make sure you are legally allowed to enter the country. Customs, on the other hand, is about stuff. It's where they check your luggage, your bags, and the goods you are bringing with you to make sure they are safe and legal.
So, if you are standing at the passport control desk, which is immigration, and you start talking about your bags and your snacks, the officer might look at you very confused. Save the talk about your luggage for the customs counter, which comes after you collect your bags.
And speaking of bags, here is a linguistic pet peeve of mine. I often hear learners say, I need to check in my luggage when they are arriving. But checking in luggage is what you do when you leave on a flight. When you arrive, you are collecting or picking up your luggage at the baggage claim.
That is a very important distinction. So when you land, you go to collect your bags or pick up your luggage. You don't check in anything until your flight back home.
Now that we've smoothed out those common bumps, it's time for our fifth and final section, the practice conversation. We are going to put all of these upgraded verbs, our PDA framework, and our pocket words into a realistic, full-length simulation of an airport arrival sequence. We're actually going to do 2 quick scenes here to show you how both immigration and customs work in action.
First up is Scene 1. Immigration, I will play the traveler, and Paul will play the slightly intimidating border control officer. Listen for how I use the PDA framework and my upgraded verbs to keep the conversation smooth and professional.
Next, step forward, please. Passport and travel documents.
Good afternoon, officer. Here is my passport and my e-visa confirmation. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
And that is a wrap on Scene 1. Notice how Emily was polite, direct, and completely avoided those basic robotic phrases. She used attending a summit instead of going to a summit, and accommodated instead of living. It sounded incredibly natural and professional.
Exactly. Now let's move on to Scene 2. Customs. This is the stage after you have grabbed your suitcases from the baggage claim carousel, and you are walking through the exit doors. Some countries have 2 lanes, a green lane for nothing to declare, and a red lane for goods to declare. Paul will be the customs officer standing near the exit, and I will be the traveler passing through.
Excuse me, miss. Can you step over to the counter for a moment, please? Of course. How can I help you? Are these 2 bags our PDA framework, and our pocket words into a realistic, full-length simulation of an airport arrival sequence? We're actually going to do 2 quick scenes here to show you how both immigration and customs work in action. First up is Scene 1, Immigration. I will play the traveler, and Paul will play the slightly intimidating border control officer. Listen for how I use the PDA framework and my upgraded verbs to keep the conversation smooth and professional. Next, step forward, please. Passport and travel documents.
Good afternoon, officer. Here is my passport and my e-visa confirmation.
Thank you. What is the nature of your visit to Canada?
I'm here to attend a digital marketing summit in Vancouver, and afterwards, I'll be doing some sightseeing.
How long do you intend to stay in the country?
I'll be here for exactly 12 days. My return flight is scheduled for the 28th of this month.
And where will you be accommodated during your stay in Vancouver?
I have reservations at the Westin Bayshore downtown. I have the digital itinerary and the booking confirmation pulled up right here on my phone screen if you need to verify the address.
No, that's fine. Are you traveling alone, or is anyone else traveling with you?
I am traveling independently, but I will be meeting up with some local colleagues once I arrive at the conference venue.
Who is sponsoring your travel?
My company is sponsoring the business portion of my stay, including the hotel and the conference registration. I am covering my own expenses for the sightseeing portion.
All right. Have you visited Canada before?
No, this is my very first time here. I'm really looking forward to seeing the city.
Excellent. Please place your right hand on the fingerprint scanner. Now look directly at the camera on your left.
Sure, like this?
Perfect. Thank you. Everything checks out. Welcome to Canada. Enjoy your conference and your stay.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
And that is a wrap on scene 1. Notice how Emily was polite, direct, and completely avoided those basic robotic phrases. She used attending a summit instead of going to a summit, and accommodated instead of living. It sounded incredibly natural and professional.
Exactly. Now let's move on to scene 2. Customs. This is the stage after you have grabbed your suitcases from the baggage claim carousel and you are walking through the exit doors. Some countries have 2 lanes, a green lane for nothing to declare and a red lane for goods to declare. Paul will be the customs officer standing near the exit, and I will be the traveler passing through.
Excuse me, miss. Can you step over to the counter for a moment, please?
Of course. How can I help you?
Are these 2 bags yours? Did you pack them yourself?
Yes, they are mine, and I packed them both myself.
Are you carrying any food products, agricultural items, plants, or seeds?
I don't have any fresh produce or plants. I did make sure to check the regulations beforehand to avoid packing any prohibited items. However, I do have a few sealed packaged snacks to declare. I have some local cookies and dried tea leaves in my suitcase.
Are those items commercial goods, or are they for personal consumption?
They are just personal souvenirs for my friends here. They are all commercially sealed and labeled.
All right, that's perfectly fine. Are you carrying any currency or monetary instruments valued at $10,000 or more?
No, definitely not that much. Just a small amount of cash and my credit cards.
Great. Please place your suitcase on the X-ray machine scanner.
Sure thing. Here you go.
All right, everything looks clear on the screen. You are good to go. Thank you for declaring those food items. Have a safe trip.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
And cut. That was a masterclass in how to handle a customs inspection. A lot of people panic when an officer stops them to check their bags, but as you saw, Emily stayed completely calm. She proactively used the words prohibited items and personal consumption to clarify her situation, and she declared her snacks honestly.
Exactly. Remember, customs officers are just doing their job to protect their country's ecosystem and economy. If you are honest, polite, and use clear natural English, the process is incredibly fast and stress-free.
It really is. Now, we want to bring you, our wonderful audience, into the conversation. It is time for our interactive homework. We want you to practice what you've learned today right down in the comments section.
Here is your prompt. Imagine you are standing at the immigration counter and the officer asks you, "What is the purpose of your visit and where are you staying?"
We want you to write your response in the comments below using our 3-step PDA framework: purpose, duration, and accommodation. Try to upgrade your verbs. Use words like attend, conduct, lodge, or accommodated instead of go or stay.
And if you are traveling for business, tell us who is your sponsor. Emily and Paul will be hanging out in the comments, reading your responses, correcting any minor mistakes, and cheering you on. Don't be shy. This is a safe space to practice and get better.
Absolutely. The only way to stop sounding like a robot is to start practicing like a human.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Real English. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep practicing your travel English, have safe travels on your next adventure, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye!